So that's all the positive use cases. You know, maybe one day we'll be able to cure almost all diseases with the help of AI. I think that might be possible. And incredible things, help with climate, find new energy sources. We work on fusion with collaborators on fusion to try and use AI systems to contain the plasma in a tokamak, material design, all of these amazing things we're working on, climate prediction, weather models. So that's all of the amazing things I think that AI is going to bring to society. But something that transformative and general purpose obviously comes with attendant risks. It's a dual purpose technology at its heart. And there's two big things I've always worried about, and I still worry about. One is bad actors, whether it's individuals or rogue nations, repurposing these general purpose technologies that were meant for good, medicine and so on, but for harmful ends, right? That is possible. And then secondly, the second big worry I have is inherent risk in the AI itself as it becomes more autonomous, more agentic. So the next era is going to be agents which are able to accomplish things more autonomously, a bit more like our games programs, but they were agents like AlphaGo, but more generalized, right? Not just playing a game, but with world models and so on. And then as we get towards AGI itself, you know, how can we control those systems, put the right guardrails around those systems, understand them well, what should we deploy them for, and how can we keep control of that technology. And so those are two really big challenges. One set of challenges is the technical challenges. I'm actually pretty optimistic about those if we give ourselves enough time as humanity, as a society, to carefully approach that tipping point of AGI. I would advocate doing it in a sort of collaborative, scientific way, a model a little bit like CERN, but it's not the current way the world's going. So that's going to be tricky in itself, but I actually think the bad actor issue and you know, what you want to do is give access to these systems to good actors to use for science and all of those things, but how at the same time do you restrict that, what's inherently digital technology, to the bad actors? And I think that's going to be difficult without international cooperation, which may end up being the harder challenge in today's geopolitical world.
Well, my last question was going to be, I was going to draw, I can't now, he just answered it, an analogy with Robert Oppenheimer, whose first act was Los Alamos, and whose second act spent here was trying to create the conditions of possibility for humanity to survive technology. And really the question is, and I think in my introduction I mentioned that that's not a question just for science and technology, and I was going to ask you, what are the most important non-technological steps you think our societies should be taking as we develop this technology?
Well, I mean, you know, I've read a lot about Oppenheimer and the Manhattan Project, and, you know, so many great books written about that, and we've got to try to learn the lessons from that as those of us coming later with, you know, equally transformative technology. And it's so prescient of von Neumann to say that in your introduction, right? It's amazing that he thought of that back then, that computation could be even bigger than nuclear. And I think he's probably right. And I think we need new institutions. So I was actually discussing it with some of the other Nobel winners in the ceremony in Sweden. The economists that won it this year are all, you know, experts in institutions and the power of institutions if you build them right. And I sort of said to them, maybe you should spend some time on thinking through what we need for AI. You know, we've already mentioned international CERN type thing. CERN's not exactly the right model, but it would need to be a new thing. But you also maybe need the equivalent of the IAEA, you know, atomic agency, to sort of monitor rogue projects, dangerous projects that are, you know, with designs that are unsafe. And then on top of that, ideally, you would have some kind of governance body that's a wise council that represents the world, some sort of technical UN.